So I'm looking into these windows. Yeah. Now my problem here is I can't get this one to go up all the way. So I got to get working on that, because if it was, I wouldn't have the gap. But the investigation is more about the tilt. With this roof rail gasket, you're going to end up with the window on the outside of the roof rail gasket, and the back window is going to go up inside into the channel. So the roof rail gasket pretty much limits how far you can tilt the window in. So as far as a fit, up here and here, I would say this passenger side window does not need much adjusting, if any. So let's look at how this window fits. Well, a little bit of a gap in here. This corner window does come up as far as it should. So the driver's side on the Green Sea. Yeah, pretty good. You might be able to get a skosh tilted in. But I think the first window you're going to have to work on is the driver's side on the Black Sea. This quarter's all the way up, and I got a way too large gap in there, which means this window has got to go for tilting in. And you can almost see that here is a little proud. This has got to come off the door panel, and then we can get at the pieces that are going to control that. Decided to work on the window alignment here on this car. You saw what it was before. Well, here's what it is after. Whew. One of the things, we found this gasket had rolled, and it was limiting the up and forward on the quarter window. And we took that out and made a better fit. And for the door, you've got one and one. That's the alignment for the rear track. That is the rear window top stop. This is the front window top stop. Here is one of the major mounting bolts for the vent window frame, which goes down to a screw here, which will give you 4.5 adjustment, and there's a screw in here which will give you in and out, and there is a nut up in here for the other end of this that you have to loosen. It didn't take us that long. We were having trouble with the glass contacting the gasket, and there's enough strength up here so this will pry the window out, and you'll end up with a gap right about in here. So, credit to Jamie. He said, let's adjust the rear top stop, and that gave the window the right degree of tilt so that it wasn't being overpowered. And now that is about as decent of a fit as I would ever expect. By comparison, you can see the gap I've got here on this car, which I haven't worked on yet. But, you know, and I also have a little bit of a droop here on the front. So, you know, get this top stop up and get this top stop down, play a little tilt. We'll get back into this and see what we can do. But first, I've got this window to take care of, and then I can cross windows off my list. Getting into the driver door window adjustment. This is the before. See, the problem is tilted at the top. The back window is up and forward as far as she needs to go. And it's a matter that we've got to correct this tilt angle like we did on the other side. Well, I've completed the adjustment, and we've got it a lot closer. This one is Mr. Magic. Oh, yeah. You work inside the doors. There's so many sharp edges. I told Larry Jett, you know, I'll leave a note that says, this is not a suicide, I was just working inside the doors. This is Mr. Magic. Jamie found this out yesterday. That is the top stop for the front part of the window, and this is the top spot for the back part of the window. And I lowered them. You can kind of see the old and the new. And that reduced how much the top of the window was on the gasket, which reduced the tilting effect. And so, but, hey, you've still got full seal up here, and it doesn't look bad. I comment on this window alignment. So I've got it so that when you close the door, you have pretty good sealing all the way around. The thing we didn't talk about, if you're already in the car and you go to raise the window, this rubber acts like a top stop. It is so stiff that, you know, the window will come up and it won't be on the top stop, and you can have gaps. Well, the problem is this rubber. This is probably an old Gore seal. The original is long gone, being a California car, it's cooked. But we have no other rubber gaskets to put in here. This is just too doggone stiff, and everybody runs into this problem. Is the window comes up and it hits. So I've kind of figured it's better to get this so when you're like this, and if you have the door closed and you raise the window, you can always try to tuck this in from the inside to get the window up. Or you could just open the door slightly, run it up, and then close from the inside. Not the best. But another word is due about this gasket, which is also a replacement. You know, the originals were much better, but we don't have a lot of choices. You see, these quarter windows, when they come up, their last effort is to go forward. Well, the top of the window is up in the channel here, and so it has got to rub along the channel. The originals were much better. I think they had flocking in there, and so what you can do is you get one of those door wax sticks and put it on top of the window frame so that when it comes up it has some lubrication. But that you're asking an awful lot of the power window motor to get this thing up, and then that last bit to bring it forward. But until other window gaskets are available, you kind of got to live with what you got to work with. Now, what we're looking at here is a window regulator. This one happens to be off of a 64 Chrysler, but I want to use it for illustration to show you what you don't want to do on these 57, 59s. You know, your transmission would be sitting here with your drive gear. This is what you call the moon gear, because it's kind of shaped in an arc like a moon. Well, you don't want to get your window all the way cranked around so that you get to the end of the track, because unlike this 64, the 57 track has gear teeth cut all the way in it. So you can keep going and you can go right off of the track. If you do that, you got to disassemble everything in order to get the transmission gear back into this track. And that's a lot of work involved. So that gets into adjusting your top stop. If you are aggressive on the top stop and you want to move the window a lot farther forward, you'll be getting right up in this area, and if you walk off, you are cooked. Now you can see here, 64, by that time they were smart, and you couldn't walk off because they didn't give you a gear tooth. So there you go, 57, 8, and 9. Those quarter windows, don't set your top stop too far, because you don't want to walk the transmission gear off of the moon gear.